Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here on the campus of Westminster College at Dumke Field for the home opener for the Westminster Griffins men's lacrosse team as they play host to the University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs in town. Beautiful Monday afternoon. The Griffins coming off a road trip where they went 1-2 in California. A couple of tough losses as they look to start here at midfield on the faceoff. My name is Lance Barton. I'll be your play-by-play today. Joining us is Griffin alumni, color commentator Alex Vincent. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thanks again, Lance. I appreciate you letting me on to help announce.
Hey, anyone that played the games got a lot more knowledge than me, so I'll take it. We appreciate being here. We are underway here, Dumke Field, face-off, and already early some physical play. So the Griffins
with the
possession. They will streak down the right side. Kofelt with it still, tossing it. So the game underway right here. Beautiful afternoon in Salt Lake City. Normally that first home opener, sometimes you're pushing snow off the field just to get it played, so we'll count it as a blessing here.
Yeah, this weather, it's been incredible.
It's been awesome. The Griffins still maintain possession. Shuffling in and out. Fairman now centers it. Bridger Fisher streaking down the left side. Takes a shot early and it goes in. So the Griffins get on the board first. Fisher using the left hand, streaking down the left side, and that's exactly what Coach Goodhand talked about to me in the pregame interview I had with him on field. Is he said that his team had the green light today and they wanted to try and facetiously saying they wanted to try and break the shots on goal record today because they felt, the coaching staff did, that the Griffins were a little bit too tentative on offense on the road in their last trip. Both Cal Poly and UC Santa Barbara switched in and out of zone defense, and the Griffins became a little bit too passive. So that's the aggression that Coach Goodhand and the Griffins want to see as they take the 1-0 lead here.
You're gonna want to see a lot of those off the sub shots that they're gonna want. That's a big part of their gameplay in the transition. You're gonna see when they're coming off, they're gonna take all that field they want to get those guys running straight down at them with no defenders in sight. So it's an excellent play and setup by the freshman coming in for the goal.
So the Griffins win the second faceoff. They are centering and shuffling in and out. Minnesota Duluth comes in with a 4-1 overall record, 2-0 in the UMLC division. Right side. Shot ripped and goes past. I believe it's deflected out of bounds. Griffins possession still. Again, an early shot there in that possession. Thomas Sargent with it behind the cage. Over to Josh Holland. Josh Holland goes inside, a shot just wide. So already 3 shots within the first few minutes here for the Griffins.
I think they're gonna take advantage of this defense. They're gonna really want to push the momentum. They really want to keep the tempo in their favor. You're gonna see a lot of two-man game behind the cage with their attackmen. You're gonna see a lot of sweeps. They got really strong, fast middies this year. It's all around strong core of guys, and they're gonna try and beat them off the feet and off the dodges.
So an inside pass goes to Postler, the captain, co-captain of the team. His shot went high and long. So the first possession for the Bulldogs of Minnesota Duluth. Minnesota Duluth had a tough battle on Saturday as they traveled into the state of Utah and played at BYU, one of the powerhouses. This is a top 20 matchup here, with the Griffins being ranked 17th, Duluth, Minnesota 19th. A streaking mid-drive there. This time, pretty good defense by Postler, the captain, to come from behind and get that. Bulldogs still maintain. Go from behind the cage, center it at the top. Ball's behind the cage, far side. Moving it around. Noble with it on the right side.
Duluth is going to try and take the wind out of their sails and get those one-on-ones they want on their defenders.
Saba gets it inside, centers it. Nice pass and a good finish by Seth Noble. That will be his 8th goal on the year. A great pass by Joey Saba, who got that on the right side of the cage. And Noble's down the middle.
Duluth did a great job spreading those guys out, getting them in an open set. It's going to be hard to talk about slides when there's no guys what they call the crease in the center.
Yep.
So it's going to be tough for those defenders to get up on that. So they're going to be throwing those cutters in and out and trying to find those open feeds, just one-on-ones.
Another face-off one. Great job by Ryan Kofelt. Ball on the ground but recovered by the Griffins. Eric Crosby with it at the top. Alex, one of the things that Coach Goodhand was talking to me about is that, offensively, as we mentioned, Griffins got a little bit tentative and tried to find the perfect shot instead of just trying to take good shots.
Yeah.
And so far the Griffins with 4 shots on goal to just 1, as they have definitely dominated possession. But regardless, it is still a 1-1 tie, so a good job by the Bulldogs. Minnesota Duluth did not really worry about first couple of shots. They come right back with an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the things. It's what you get with a young core of kids. It's just hard to that transition from high school ball to college ball, where it's you can't be afraid to make mistakes. It's going to happen, especially in this league. And what you got to do is just go and look for the next one. That's what Duluth did after they got their goal scored on them. They immediately bounced back and got a goal out.
So the Griffins maintained possession after the ball went on the field. That's a good effort there by the big defenseman Huso to keep that. Ball was sent inside, but a save. It's the team's transition, shuffling players in and out. One of my attractions of this game, Alex, has been the similarities to basketball. Obviously, being a basketball player myself,
yeah.
I was never tough enough to play lacrosse, so I stuck with basketball. But you can see right now that both teams have kind of switched up their defenses in alternating possessions. We had a little bit more of pressure. Now the Griffins kind of settling in, kind of packing into their position, man-to-man defense.
Yeah. They got to really try and launch those one-on-ones. A lot of things about the Griffins' defense is they trust their matchups. That's what they're taught is, they're not going to slide so fast for their teammates because they know they trust them that they're not going to get beat so fast. They're going to take on their man one-on-one.
Saba cross field over to Simpson. His shot was deflected off of the leg. Good save there by Trent Herbert. The deflection. Eric Gronseth in goal for the Griffins, stepping in for a slew of Griffin goaltending greats. They've had 2 or 3 all-conference great goaltenders.
Yeah. And
those are big shoes to fill for Gronseth. Has had a decent year so far. This is his 4th start of the year.
And I think I spoke to Goodhand before, and Gronseth took a year off, but came back and wanted to play strong, and has been playing strong ever since he came back. And it's been a great addition to the team, especially on the defensive side.
So the Griffins with it on their side of the field, trying to get in to the interior of the Bulldogs defense. Archer with it on the near side. Pretty good defense there by the Bulldogs this time.
You're going to find out Duluth is sliding hard and sliding fast to those middies and attackmen. They know Westminster has a very quick set of players, and they're going to be sliding really hard and coming out flying just to get physical on these guys and try to, make it so they take bad shots and we can get the ball back.
A great job preventing the streaking Dormerhauser to be able to get that across the midway line. So the middy's doing a good job preventing the break on transition. And ball goes out of bounds, possession back to the Griffins. Thomas Sargent, freshman leading point scorer for the Griffins this year, stepping into a nice role after Madsen graduated last year, the senior graduating. And so the Griffins have a number of freshmen that are definitely called upon this season.
Yeah, everyone's
to contribute.
Everyone's going to have their own role on this team. And it's going to be a big year for Westminster, and the ideas of transitioning to NCAA, they're going to be playing everyone. They're going to want them to get into shape, especially for that big move up.
So as Alex said, Westminster College going NCAA Division II starting next year into their transitional period. The RMAC Conference accepting the Griffins. Ball on top and a shot.
Great.
Nice save. Behind in the front of the cage, Eric Crosby went right to left. Another shot saved, this time coming from Troy Vance. So 2 good saves back to back. The Griffins are thwarted as they have definitely ratcheted up their number of shots on goal. Great job by Jared Clapperich in front of the cage for the Bulldogs. Already with 5 saves is Clapperich.
Again, Duluth is going to take that wide set out and get some air in between and make sure their defense gets a breather in here, and they're going to run those up top and get everyone some space.
Ball behind the cage.
Another great save by Gronseth.
Yep, Gronseth with a nice save. Hebner tried to get it in again. They've 3 times in a row, the Bulldogs is a possession, a turnover by the Griffins. Bulldogs get the possession back.
And that's, they're right there. As we see it, those new rules, it's the quick restarts. They want to keep this game in transition, and Minnesota Duluth taking advantage of that, getting that ball right into someone's stick, and the ref can automatically blow that whistle, taking advantage of those unsettled situations. It's going to be key. Who's going to own them?
So Joey Saba with the goal off of the quick restart, as Alex mentioned, and the Bulldogs on the road now lead it 2-1 here on the campus of Westminster College. It's number 17 Westminster versus number 19 University of Minnesota Duluth. The Bulldogs come in, as mentioned, with a 4-1 overall record, only lost to top 25, top 10 ranked BYU on Saturday. Tough battle. The Bulldogs coached by Sam Littman. I talked to Coach Littman before, and he said that they won 2 of the 4 quarters down there against BYU as another shot goes long. Possession over to the Bulldogs, but they played them tough. I mean, you compete against the best. It's going to give your team confidence. Yeah, you'd like to win all those games, but going on the road and be able to, to compete against a team like BYU who plays so well at home.
Exactly, and the competition everywhere in this league is just getting better and better every year. There's no longer these teams that you blow up, they're top 25. Every team's going to be a threat.
So that is the first timeout call. This time it is the Bulldogs, so we'll take a short break. Don't go anywhere. The visiting Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs have a 2-1 advantage over the Griffins here at Dumke Field. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
A concussion occurs when any kind of force causes the brain to move back and forth. You don't need to lose consciousness to have had a concussion. Symptoms include headache, dizziness, difficulty concentrating, balance problems, and nausea. If these symptoms occur, stop activity until cleared by a healthcare professional. The smart plan for concussions is, when in doubt, hold them out.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
Risk of shoulder injury can be reduced by strengthening the small muscles that stabilize the joint. To prevent shoulder injuries, the muscles of the rotator cuff need to be strengthened as they keep the ball and socket stable through an athletic activity like throwing a ball or reaching to catch a pass. Strengthening these foundation muscles is a good way to keep your shoulders healthy and keep you on the field. If you want more injury prevention techniques, then please contact us.
So we are back to lacrosse action here. Beautiful Salt Lake City. A mid-March Monday afternoon. No better time to play some lacrosse than to start your week. I'm Lance Barton, joined by Alex Vincent, Griffin alumni.
Thanks again, Lance. Good to be here.
Absolutely. The Griffins come out of the timeout and turn the ball over. Possession back to the Bulldogs as they look to add to their lead. They go down 1-0 off an early goal by the Griffins. And then the Bulldogs answer with 2 goals of their own, really slowing the tempo down and trying to find space. Griffins look to go on transition and break. Ethan Goslin with it. Eli Fairman with it at the top now. The Griffins subbing in and out. Adjusting lineups. Good defense there. Jonathan Drake causes the turnover. And the Griffins turn it right back over.
Oof.
And a big, strong hit right in front, right after Thomas Sargent let that one loose. The big defender, Jonathan Drake, came in and questionable, but it looked like the ref said it was a legal hit. Nonetheless, definitely.
It's a big hit, yeah.
Yeah, definitely adjusted that shot from Sargent. Griffins still maintain possession. A big, strong shot whipped just high and right of the cage. The Griffins will still maintain possession. For all those novice and amateur lacrosse fans, such as myself, I had to learn that the shooting team can still maintain possession if the shot goes long and is not touched, as long as the first player closest to the out-of-bounds line, closest where the ball went out,
Yep, that's right.
that team can still maintain possession. Another shot out of bounds. The Griffins will still maintain. So as you can see, the Griffins are shooting often, as often as they really can to get a decent shot, which is the game plan that Coach Goodhand had coming into today's game. Josh Holland with it. Back over to Fairman. Fairman rips a shot in the middle and another terrific save.
That's great saves.
Yeah, that is the senior Jared Clapperich with now looks like his 5th save of the game already. 6th save of the game, excuse me.
Great save by Eric Gronseth on cage.
Griffins in transition down the right side. Dylan Check centers it. So the tempo of this game is not necessarily super quick, but the shots on goal from the Griffins have been. And so far, I'm sure it's been overall good for the Griffins, but they find themselves down 2-1 lead for the Bulldogs of Minnesota Duluth, who've been very efficient so far. Another inside shot saved by Clapperich, his 7th of this early game here.
Yeah, Duluth's doing a great job in making them take the bad shots. They take those low percentage shots that are rarely bad angles, and the goalie's just eating them up as they come.
So 1:40 coming up on the clock left in this first quarter. 3 goals scored, 2 by Minnesota, and that makes a 3rd as the big, long midi, Samuel Harris, streaking down the middle and put that one up high. And that gives a 3-1 advantage for Minnesota Duluth.
Again, it's that transition game. It's looks like Westminster was running a zone, and you got to really communicate on that zone when you don't have players assisting you, especially on the backside, and you don't know who's behind you. And the defender took advantage of that and just took it straight down to the field, and his attackman saw he was coming down and just let him have his chance.
So that's Samuel Harris's 1st goal on the year. As the Griffins win another faceoff, Ryan Kofeld doing a good job in the middle. Restarts so far in this game, but again, the efficiency of the Bulldogs of Minnesota Duluth been the key here in this first quarter for them having a 2-goal advantage. 1:15 on the clock here in the first quarter. Westminster College's location, we're on Dumke Field. Overcast day, fairly warm for the middle of March for Salt Lake City. And nice to be wearing shorts and a sunglasses when you're doing the game instead of a parka and snow boots, as it's been a few times the past couple of years. But
yeah.
I guess that's what makes lacrosse players tougher than basketball players, because you play outside.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I like to say. Kind of give us ourselves some evidence of, you know, as they say, what men do during boys' baseball season.
It's true. Baseball is a fun sport.
Oh, very.
Nice shot ripped from high there by Postler. Postler, the returning co-captain here for this squad. The Griffins continue to shoot early and often in possession. Ball was kicked there. Pretty obvious by Durea. Tanner Durea tried to put that back on the offensive side.
Yeah, I think he was caught there for holding his man in there. Usually that's what you want to do, but not get caught.
Right. That shot off the side of the cage, off the netting. End of the quarter here. And the time will run out, so that will be the end of the first quarter. The visitors coming into Salt Lake City, and they maintain a 3-1 goal advantage here as they find themselves on top over Westminster. We will take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk about that first quarter and what adjustments both teams need to make as they go into this second quarter. We'll be right back after this short message.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To reduce your risk of dehydration, drink plenty of fluids. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Drink water and sports beverages before, during, and after exercising or playing. And avoid caffeine, sugary drinks, and carbonated beverages. If you're staying hydrated but still experience fatigue or dizziness, see your doctor or contact us.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the Courtyard by Marriott, an official lodging partner of Westminster Athletics. Courtyard by Marriott, ideal for travelers.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To speed up recovery from a sprained ankle, follow the RICE treatment plan. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. First, rest and keep weight off the ankle. Next, ice the injury for about 20 minutes at a time. Third, wrap the ankle in a compression bandage. And finally, elevate to minimize swelling. If you experience an ankle injury, see your doctor or call us.
Welcome back, lacrosse fans. Salt Lake City, Utah. Westminster College playing host to the University of Minnesota Duluth. And Minnesota Duluth taking advantage of some turnovers, but really being efficient on the offensive end as they have the lead going into the second quarter. The Griffins found themselves with a quick goal early in that quarter, had some momentum, were shooting often and early in possession, but Minnesota Duluth taking advantage of some of their offensive sets, and they have the lead. Alex Vincent on color, former Griffin lacrosse player himself. Lance Barton here on the call. Alex, what do you see from both of these teams as they move into this second quarter?
I think it's just for Westminster on the offensive side. They just have to finish. They have great looks. They've been running their offense very smoothly. A couple of, errant passes here and there, but they've been controlling and maintaining possession. So it's just going to come down to whether they can finish on the goalie. The goalie's just been playing very well on Duluth's side. He's been making some great saves, and his defense has been playing, very well, making the Westminster offense take bad shots at bad angles, making those high percentage saves. For Duluth, again, they're taking advantage of all the unsettled situations. 2 of their goals coming from non-settled plays, and if they keep that up, it's going to be tough for Westminster to keep in the game. So it's going to come down to if Westminster can cut back on those unsettled situations and try to make them use their offensive sets against them, and we'll just see what happens.
So going into that quarter, before that ripping shot that just went wide by Josh Holland, the Westminster Griffins had a 15-8 shots on goal advantage. However, 7 saves for Jared Klaparich from Minnesota Duluth, 1 save from the Griffins goaltender, and that is a big difference. There's the second goal, finding the back of the net. This time, number 22, Elias Fairman, his 9th goal of the season. And that will bring it within 1. So the Griffins a little bit more patient, went to that far side, and Fairman rips that one over the shoulder of Clapperich. So
Yeah, again, they're just patient, move that ball, and they're just waiting for the one open shot. They found the right man at the right position. Elias Fairman taking a nice right-hand rip up in that top corner and putting it right by the goalie.
So 3-2 Minnesota Duluth advantage as they win
Fast break
possession
opportunity.
off the face-off. Pretty good job by the Griffins recovering on defense. And there we'll see Minnesota Duluth getting their lineups adjusted, getting the players on the field. They are very methodical in the way that they play on the offensive end. Coach Goodhand very complimentary of this Bulldog team. Great job by Coach Littman, as he talked about that he loves coming to Utah because it's kind of a similar style. Coach Goodhand talking about teams from the Midwest, especially the upper Midwest, have so much hockey kind of built into their mentality.
Absolutely.
That very strong physical kids play very disciplined, and in other parts of the country and including here in Utah, a little bit more finesse and speed at times. And so it's kind of fun for Coach Littman, he said, to come out here and play some different styles than they're used to in their conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So ball on the floor. Both teams trying to regain possession as the Bulldogs get it on the left side.
That's going to be a push on Westminster.
Yep.
Pushing him inside the crease.
So possession will maintain with the Bulldogs on the pushing call. Not a penalty. Not a penalty resulting in any kind of minutes. Right side for the Bulldogs. Now behind, back outside. And a bad turnover there by Minnesota Duluth is Jacob Hepner. Looked like he went to make the pass before he had it secured.
Yeah. He was lucky that Duluth had a wide man open, standing on near the goal side.
The possession that could have been started out very enticing for the Griffins turns into a turnover by Ryan Kofelt here right in front of us on the field. So back is possession over to the Bulldogs. Goals.
Oh, and a goal on right side, or left side hip.
Great job this time, number 24, Logan Lindberg, getting his 7th of the year and bringing that lead back to 2 goals, 4-2. Advantage Bulldogs here in the second quarter. So the Griffins had an answer, had a little momentum. And before they knew it, Duluth has an answer. Great job, as Alex mentioned, from the hip was Lindberg. And a kicking infraction called by the referee. So the possession back to the Bulldogs. Nick Dolan with it at the top, spacing the field. Ball on the left side now. Ball at the top. Good patience being shown by the Bulldogs. Griffins maintaining position defense. Nice save there. Good job. Sorry, go ahead.
Great ball movement from the offense without the errant pass. Again, Duluth just taking their time, taking the air out of the ball, getting the right personnel on the field, trying to cut the tempo off of Westminster. They know Westminster wants to keep their tempo up, keep those shots going.
So goals so far in this game as we are early into the second quarter. Minnesota Duluth, the visitors have the lead 4-2. They have a goal each from Saba, Lindbergh, Noble, and Harris. The Griffins have a goal each from Eli Fairman and Bridger Fisher, both their first goals of the season, but not enough to keep this Bulldogs team from maintaining a lead. Griffins jumped out early in the first quarter with a very quick goal from Fairman, and the Bulldogs bounced back and answered with 2 goals of their own. Excuse me, that first goal was by Bridger Fisher, and now the teams have been able to kind of settle into what they like to do. Bulldogs, as Alex just mentioned, very methodical, very poignant in their offense, whereas the Griffins are trying to transition and break, get shots on goal early. But nonetheless, the Bulldogs with the 4-2 advantage. Comparing the team-to-team stats to this point, 17 shots on goal for the Griffins, 12 for Minnesota Duluth. The Griffins are 3 of 7 on clears, Minnesota Duluth 5 of 7 on clears. Griffins maintain possession behind the cage.
This is a great ground ball pickup by Jake Berard there. Lays in the situation, just going straight for ball.
Ball centered, Dalton Tour. Good recovery there by Graham Archer. He centers it. Back to Archer. Far side over to Cosby. Griffins settling in here on the offensive end. Had a couple turnovers early in this quarter. One of them leading to possession and goal. Ball behind the cage. Pretty solid defensive stand there by the Bulldogs. The Griffins trying to find a crease in. Shot ripped through by Dylan Check. In front of Clapperich. Goalie for Minnesota Duluth. Right now actually has 7 saves in the game so far. Played really well. Ball on the far side. A couple of Griffin bodies on the ground. Pushing call on the Bulldogs. Possession with the Griffins. Alex looking at the game as we now sit 7 minutes left here in the quarter. What have you seen different here in the second quarter from the first, if any?
I think, for one, the Minnesota is owning the ground ball war. Whenever there's a ball on the ground, it seems to be that Minnesota is right on it, getting everyone cleared out and getting on that ball. It's, as some coaches will always say, the key to any victory is owning that ground ball war and who has the possession. And Minnesota seems to be doing very well. And they're breaking the Westminster ride that seemed to be very tough in the first quarter. So it's going to be a matter of who wants the ball more and who is going to fight for those ground balls.
So Minnesota Duluth causes a turnover there. That's their fifth caused turnover. Westminster with 3. Westminster has 8 total turnovers to Minnesota Duluth 6. So those turnover numbers higher than both of these coaches would like for sure. So the ball been on the ground quite a bit in this first half for both teams. Something that they'll want to clean up as we move on throughout this game. But again, both teams, Minnesota Duluth kind of sticking to their strengths of physical play and very disciplined offensive structure. The Griffins a little bit more run and gun, if you will. That one hits the post. Out of bounds. Griffins will maintain possession. Quick restart, as Eric mentioned before. Excuse me, sorry, I just called you Eric.
No worries.
Mr. Vincent. I'm just going to start calling you Mr. Vincent. Sounds
Works
so
for
much
me.
more professional. Ball on the right side, back behind the cage. Fairman with it. On the right side.
Oh,
Weaving in and out, tries to get a shot, and a penalty flag called as we have our first.
22 with the holds. So it's going to be man up here for Westminster.
So the first penalty minutes being assessed. The holding. 30-second penalty being assessed on the Bulldogs. So man advantage, look for the Griffins to try and take advantage, being a man up. Right now, a stat that kind of sticks out to me is Minnesota 6 of 8 on clears. The Griffins 5 of 9. Not a terrible stat. Want to be up in the 80s. Well, obviously coaches want to be 100%, but
coaches want to be shooting for 80s. If
Yeah.
more realistic, it's a very good day. Ooh, a hard shot drilled into the goalie.
so Clapperidge takes that one off the body. He is bent over. He definitely could feel that.
Yeah,
I do not.
hard shot to the chest. Those aren't fun to deal with.
Yeah, I do not envy him.
Coach is getting a little bit frustrated right now with those calls. The new rules is if one of the players picks up the ball, it's receiving the ball. The other opposing team has to give 5 yards, and if they don't, it's a penalty. So you'll see both teams trying to take advantage of that, and we'll start moving to get closer. And if they don't get out of the way, it's an automatic penalty. It's an automatic technical. So again, frustrating calls when for Westminster when they can't get those calls that they want.
Good job by Clapperidge right there, stealing the pass. A streaking Scalzo down the left side. Bulldogs running their own transition. Bulldogs with it on the left side, getting their subs in. 4-2 Bulldogs advantage here in the second quarter. 3:30 left on the clock in this first half. Shot ripped there by number 4, Connor Simpson. That one flies past the cage and out of bounds. So what we thought may have been a high-scoring affair as the Griffins got on the board within 50 seconds of the game starting. They've only had one goal since, and a costly turnover, and now a break.
A fast break here for Westminster. Oh.
Chris Fuoco running the break, but a good recovery there by the Bulldogs. Now a pass goes over the head of the outstretched Dromerhauser, giving the possession back to the Griffins. Holland with it on the far side, letting the Griffins set up their offense. He'll run behind the cage. Ball finds its way on the top, trying to get it into the crease. Swung back over. Bridger Fisher with it in the right hand. He'll turn and try and center it back up. He will do so. Fairman with it. Pretty good defense here by the Bulldogs. A shot ripped there by Postler with the left hand. That one goes wide. Pretty impressed so far with the Bulldogs and their ability to make the Griffins, as you mentioned earlier, take really tough shots.
Yeah, it's what they're going to want to keep doing here. And again, Duluth just doing an excellent job on defense, preventing any easy shot for Westminster.
Fairman with it at the top, streaking down the right side. Turns and pivots, trying to find anything. Bulldogs defense being pretty stout. That shot goes just low and right and out of bounds. And a great save. Good shot there. Good possession by Sargent. And that one kicked in. Sorry, not kicked in, but that one flipped in. The ball was on the ground. And a shuffle for the possession. And I believe that was Sargent who found a stick on it. Nope, they gave it to Postler. So his 13th goal of the season. That gives him top goals on the team this season. So a good effort. And now it is 4-3 Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah, great acknowledgement to see that ball's still alive even though it's on the ground. The goalie didn't clamp down on it hard enough. Again, players can get underneath the stick and pull it out if they can see an opening. And Postler managed to do that and get a goal out of it.
Good job by Jake Berard winning that faceoff. And the Griffins will call their first timeout of the half as they pull this one back to within 1 goal. 4-3 Minnesota Duluth on top here as the visitors, as Westminster gets a goal back off of Kyle Postler on the ground, trying to gain momentum. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right here on Griffins TV.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the Red Line Downtown Salt Lake City, an official lodging partner of Westminster Athletics. The Red Line Downtown, a short distance to world-class skiing. Westminster Basketball on Griffins TV. Brought to you by our Team Griffin corporate partners. Adidas. SportsMed Utah. Park City Mountain Resort. Pepsi.
We are back here. Live lacrosse action. Westminster men's lacrosse team coming in as the number 17 team in the country. Lance Barton, Alex Vincent here on the call for you as the Griffins, prior to that timeout, get a loose ball, score, and goal. Postler with great recognition as we are back to live action. So 4-3 Minnesota Duluth on top. Had a 2-goal advantage for about 6 minutes there. Griffins finally get an answer.
1 minute remaining in the half. 1 minute.
1 minute in this half. Look for the Griffins to slow it down. Maybe potentially try and get a last shot unless they can find something. The way the Griffins have played, I would doubt that they would wait a whole minute to get a shot. They have 23 shots on goal. Make that 24 now as that one goes by. Christian Pompoko, his first shot attempt of the game. Possession stays with the Griffins. 30 seconds left in this half. And that one finds the back of the net and ties it up. Troy Vance with his 3rd goal of the season. Knots this thing up at 4.
Again, excellent 2-man game behind. Westminster was looking for that, as they call the grenade throw. They're going to draw off the pick, going to draw 2 men, and one of the guys setting the pick is going to fall off, get a little grenade toss there, and going to run around and get a close goal on crease.
So well-executed possession and play by the Griffins, scoring with 26 seconds left in the half and tying this thing up. Ball on the ground, still on the ground. Picked up by Ryan Kofeld, trying to get something done here with 15 seconds left, and we have a whistle and a timeout called on the field by the Griffins. Their 2nd timeout of the half, as they will try and get something done here with 17 seconds left on the clock. We'll keep it here during this timeout. Alex, chance for the Griffins to maybe take a lead after being down 2 with about a minute to go.
I mean, if they get a quick goal off, I think it's going to come down to a quick screenplay up top where ball's going to be stuck behind. and it's going to be up to the guys up top above the cage to make a move, and they're just going to try and throw it to someone and get a quick goal off of it. At least that's what I would be guessing at this kind of time where there's limited time left before the half.
So 17 seconds, still a bit of time to try and get something set up. You don't necessarily have to get a shot extremely quickly. You definitely don't want to leave any time left for the Bulldogs to try and transition or get anything on the other end. So the Griffins trying to grab hold of momentum and potentially take the lead going into halftime as they found themselves down 2 goals with about a minute left in this second quarter. They call a timeout. We'll draw up an offensive set here to try and get one in, at least a good shot for Minnesota Duluth. Cannot let a goal here. You've just let 2 in the last minute. Let it get tied up, and they got to do whatever they can to be able to keep this thing knotted going into the half. So here's the start out of the timeout. Fairman with it on the right side, one-on-one. Rips a shot.
And goal.
And it is through. It goes through the legs of Jared Clapperich. So Fairman with an unbelievable individual effort, went right side, planted, spins left, and gets that one to go through. It bounces around Clapperich's legs and crosses the line and counts as a goal. So only took him 7 seconds to get that one through. And Fairman finds himself his second goal of the game, 10th of the season, and the Griffins lead 5-4.
And again, just great overall effort by Elias Fairman, just getting in and not waiting for a second, just going straight to the goal.
Face-off battle still going on, ball on the ground. And the ball finishes out possession on the right side, and that will be 5-4 lead by the Griffins going into halftime. So the Griffins with 3 goals in the final minute of the second quarter to take a 5-4 advantage over Minnesota Duluth. Alex, that was a barrage there throughout. The Griffins couldn't really find the net, and then they find it 3 times in the last minute. What happened there as the Griffins grab momentum and the lead?
I think, man, it starts off with that 1 goal by Elias Fairman, top right corner. It definitely put some wind back into the Griffin sails here, and they felt a little bit more confident. They were going out. They knew they were still in this game, and they just kept chipping back. I know Good Hands, big preacher of just waiting for that next goal. It's always a 0-0 game after every goal and just fighting back no matter what the deficit is. On Minnesota, it looked like the defense was getting a little bit tired at the end there. Definitely what the Griffins wanted. They wanted to see, they wanted to keep that tempo going on and make it that defense work extra hard. So then that's what they get at the very end there, those 2 quick goals out of the blue where, you know, defense is unsettled, they're tired, they've been out there for a while, it's been a hot day. So, again, it's a great overall effort from the Griffins, but, again, this is still a ball game. It's a close game for both sides.
So there you have it. Halftime here. We'll watch the end of the song leaders' performance as they are entertaining the crowd here at halftime, and then we'll take a break. We'll come back with stats, highlights, and some more analysis as the Griffins lead 5-4 over Minnesota Duluth here on Griffins TV.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
Proper nutrition helps athletes enhance training efforts, improve health, maintain weight, and maximize physical performance. Before and after activity, we recommend balanced nutrition, including carbohydrates, proteins, fruits, and vegetables. If you want more information on how proper nutrition can help you, see your doctor or contact us.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com. Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
Prevent injury and reduce knee pain by strengthening the muscles surrounding the joint. Strong muscles are your first line of protection. Start a program that gradually increases strength and conditioning to help protect the knee joints. And incorporate drills specific to your sport to keep you in game shape. If you experience a knee injury, see your doctor or contact us.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com.
Here on the campus of Westminster College in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's the men's lacrosse team taking the lead 5-4 over the visitors, the University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, who maintain a lead for about 85% of that half. The Griffins jumped out to an early 1-0 lead with a goal 58 seconds into the game. And the Bulldogs answered with two of their own, and it was their control as they led by one or two the remaining of that half. The Griffins found themselves down 4-2 in the last minute of the half, and they put a barrage of 3 goals in the last minute, including a terrific individual effort by Fairman on the right side after a called timeout. A spin, planted and spin, threw it through, and bounced around the wickets of Clapperich and found itself crossing the line and gave the Griffins their 1-goal advantage. I'm Lance Barton with Alex Vincent, Griffin alumni and former player.
Thanks again. Yeah, Lance, it's been a great game so far. Both sides coming up physical, tough. And, as the goals may show on there, 26 for Westminster and 15 for Duluth. It's not terribly high-scoring game, but, again, it's give credit to the defenses on both sides, just making everyone take the bad shots and those low angles, making it really easy for the goalie to make high-percentage saves. That's what the coaches want on both sides.
So right now, going through some statistics as we compare the team stats for Minnesota Duluth and Westminster. 5-4 Griffin advantage, 26 shots, as Alex had mentioned, for the Griffins, 15 for Minnesota Duluth. The Griffins with 17 ground balls won to just 9 for Minnesota. 2 saves for the Griffins, 8 for Minnesota Duluth. So this game could definitely be a little bit wider in margin, but a great individual effort by the defense and by Jared Clapperich, the senior goaltender for the Bulldogs. The Griffins are 6 of 10 on clears. Minnesota, Duluth 7 of 10. The Griffins have won 9 of 11 faceoffs. They do have 10 total turnovers and have caused 4. Minnesota Duluth with 9 total turnovers, causing 6. Some individual leaders here. Goals scored by Joey Saba, Logan Lindbergh, Seth Noble, and Samuel Harris for Minnesota Duluth. For Westminster, 2 goals by Elias Fairman, 1 by Troy Vance, 1 by Bridger Fisher, and Kyle Postler, the captain. So pretty even with some of the other stats as we're looking at percentages and some of those things. The Griffins obviously dominating shots on goal, and that was one thing that they wanted to focus on. Great job in the cage is Clapperich with those 8 saves. But regardless, 5 made it through, 3 in the last minute of the half for the Griffins, and that gives them the lead. So we'll come back, we'll take a break, and we'll come back with the beginning of the second half, some keys to the second half from our resident alumni Alex Vincent here on this beautiful Monday afternoon. It's lacrosse season, and it's the Griffins home opener, and have an early lead here at halftime, 5-4 over Minnesota Duluth. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Griffins TV.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
A concussion occurs when any kind of force causes the brain to move back and forth. You don't need to lose consciousness to have had a concussion. Symptoms include headache, dizziness, difficulty concentrating, balance problems, and nausea. If these symptoms occur, stop activity until cleared by a healthcare professional. The smart plan for concussions is, when in doubt, hold them out.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
Risk of shoulder injury can be reduced by strengthening the small muscles that stabilize the joint. To prevent shoulder injuries, the muscles of the rotator cuff need to be strengthened as they keep the ball and socket stable through an athletic activity like throwing a ball or reaching to catch a pass. Strengthening these foundation muscles is a good way to keep your shoulders healthy and keep you on the field. If you want more injury prevention techniques, then please contact us.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Pepsi, the official beverage provider of Griffin Athletics.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To reduce your risk of dehydration, drink plenty of fluids. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Drink water and sports beverages before, during, and after exercising or playing. And avoid caffeine, sugary drinks, and carbonated beverages. If you're staying hydrated but still experience fatigue or dizziness, see your doctor or contact us.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the Courtyard by Marriott, an official lodging partner of Westminster Athletics. Courtyard by Marriott, ideal for travelers.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To speed up recovery from a sprained ankle, follow the RICE treatment plan. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. First, rest and keep weight off the ankle. Next, ice the injury for about 20 minutes at a time. Third, wrap the ankle in a compression bandage. And finally, elevate to minimize swelling. If you experience an ankle injury, see your doctor or call us.
It's a beautiful Monday afternoon here in Salt Lake City. Great time for Westminster men's lacrosse action in their home opener here at Dumke Field. As we start the second half against the visitors, the Bulldogs of Minnesota Duluth, and possession won by the Griffins off of the faceoff as they have a 5-4 one-goal advantage going into this second half. Lance Barton, Alex Vincent on the call for you today. Appreciate you tuning in on Griffins TV. You can find all your highlights, stats for all Griffins athletic sports at westminstergriffins.com. The Griffins coming into this game 3-2 overall is their record. Had a tough road trip as they went to California, had 3 games in 5 days, dropping their first loss at Dominican, then against Cal Poly, losing in a low-scoring affair, 8-5, and then getting a win at UC Santa Barbara.
And an open goal leads to a Griffins goal here.
Great job, great recognition, a good pass as Postler catches that and finishes it low. And that gives a 2-goal advantage, the Griffins' largest of the game, 6-4 here just 1 minute and 10 seconds into the third quarter. So another early goal at the beginning of a half for the Griffins.
Again, unsettled situations. They're going to be a killer here or a key for a team. Depends on who's going to take advantage of most of them. Griffin's doing a great job seeing it was a late defender was going back on a hard pass to make and taking advantage of that and getting when the goalie's out of the cage.
Great job there by Dalton Tour. Getting that over the top. Kofelt with it on the right side. Now making its way back up top to Fairman. Ball finds its way behind the cage, back and forth. Bridger Fisher with it. On the near side. So Fisher brings it all the way to the top. Fisher with it, going one-on-one down the left side. Staying on the left, over to Holland. Fisher with it again, now down the right side. Over the top. Over to Holland. Griffins showing good patience here, trying to find the right matchups. Holland with it on the left side. Fairman with it, streaking down the right side, looking for someone in the crease.
Oh,
and a nice job, overhand throw by Fairman. Elias Fairman now with his third goal of the game, and the Griffins open up a 3-goal advantage.
Yeah, great recognition there by Elias. He saw that it was just one-on-one there, and his teammates cleared the way out for him, and it was a nice sweep behind the cage in for a great right-hand goal, lower corner. It's hard to stop. It's a really hard shot to stop. That's, again, going to good hand, and Brad Lavoie's plan. They really want to take advantage of those one-on-one matchups. They know they have a really strong, fast group of middies. They're going to try and use that to their advantage.
So the Griffins are showing a little bit of their offensive diversity, being able to score off transition, off some quick shots, but that time a definite couple of play calls as we have a penalty flag thrown on the field. We'll see what the call is by the referee.
Looks like it's going to be an offsides there on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Got an extra man in play, so it's a free play from Westminster.
So big physical hit there in front of the cage by the Bulldogs. They get possession, but it will be a half-side penalty, as Alex said. And that one will be on number 15, Franklin Nesser of the Bulldogs. So just the second penalty of the game, both of those being called on Minnesota Duluth. So a man advantage and possession for the Griffins. So Bridger with 4 points already in this game, 3 goals and 1 assist. Kyle Posser with 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. And 1 point, by Troy Vance, and 2 points by Bridger Fisher with a goal and an assist. For Minnesota Duluth, Saba, Lindbergh, Noble, and Harris with a goal each. Saba with an assist, so he is their points leader in this game with 2 points total. Penalty ending. A shot there over the top by Holland. Bounced in front of the goal. Goes out of bounds.
Good job by the Minnesota Duluth defense there, holding the man-down defense, making the Griffins throw a lot of passes, especially when they don't want to do that. It's a great job overall. Now it's back to Minnesota Duluth possession here.
So subs in by both teams. Ball on the ground, but recovered by Minnesota Duluth. Ball centered at the top. Lindbergh with it, getting pressured. Good job by Atchison. Long stick defender. A good job forcing a turnover. The ball goes on the ground. Battling over there. The ball eventually goes out of bounds. Over to Minnesota Duluth. So good battle there. That was about 40 yards of battling on the ground. So ground ball won there by the Bulldogs, setting up their offense. We saw Alex in the first half when the Bulldogs were able to set up their offense. And a nice shot there with the left hand was Garrick Swanson. Number 47 went high for that one and gets his first goal of the game, 3rd of the season.
Yeah, great dodge from behind, gained that lift up to try to just do a little dunk over the goalie. It was great dodge, and all he needed was just a couple steps across his man, and he got the goal.
So that's the second goal of that nature of the Bulldogs beating their man around and finding themselves alone. And now just a 2-goal advantage for the Griffins. Another scuffle. Another scuffle. 3-on-3, a good battle being played, still on the ground. And the Griffins finally, after about 15 seconds of a nice battle, win possession off of that faceoff. Ryan Kofelt with it, centering it now over to Graham Archer. Archer shuffling down the left side. Griffin substitutions as well as the Bulldogs. So the Griffins now with 30 shots on goal, 16 for the Bulldogs. Griffins trying to hang on to the momentum that they gained at the end of that first half, getting 3 goals and taking the lead in the final minute of the second quarter. Have a 2-goal advantage now, and a nice save there by Clapperich.
Again, it's a good shot, but it's an easy save for that goalie. It's a high percentage, stick side high. Goalies love that. They're going to eat that up all day.
Clapperich with double-digit saves now at 10. And a holding called on the Bulldogs. Possession back, and the Griffins are in transition.
Oh.
Solid hit there by the Bulldogs defender. And looks like we have a tripping call on the Griffins, giving possession back over to the Bulldogs. So the Griffins had the numbers advantage, and we're going on the break, but a sloppy pass led to the penalty. And a turnover there. This time, so a turnover by Dalton Tuor of the Griffins. Bulldogs setting up their offense. So a goal there by the Bulldogs, knotting this thing up. Another rip shot there. Again, this time Garrick Swanson, his 4th of the season and 2nd of the game, and it is now 7-6 Griffins advantage. So just when you thought the Griffins had all the momentum and were taking control of this game, the Bulldogs bounce back with 2 goals of their own.
Yeah, I think, again, there was a great one-on-one dodge there. The attackman did a very good job of hiding his stick behind him. It's tough for a goalie to read any kind of shot coming his way if he cannot see where the ball is being released on the stick. And he took a little jump shot, faked him out, and put it up high, right in a great spot. Again, Duluth is really fighting hard on those ground balls, which is going to be a key to this game. They're not giving it up yet.
Minnesota Duluth with it. Back into Clapperich's hand. Trying to find a seam. It's a defenseman. The long stick midi, sorry. Still getting used to the offsides.
Yeah.
Physical player right now. Both teams really laying the wood down right now. Some good contact right in front of us here.
Great effort by 16 Carter Fair and freshman out of Oregon, just not giving up and fighting for that ball. 3 men on him and still putting up a good fight.
And the physical play and intensity of this game definitely ratcheted up over the last 2 or 3 minutes as the Griffins got a goal and went up 3. And Minnesota Duluth answers with 2 goals of their own. So the Griffins 7-6 lead. But this game, I have a feeling, is probably going to be tight throughout. And if the physicality and emotion continues to rise, this could be a fun finish as we are now 6-12 and an unbelievable goal there. Nice individual effort.
Yeah.
This time it was Fairman again.
Yeah, again, same move as he did before, just the sweep from the bottom corner. He's going to come up and put it right where the goalie is facing. Those goalies are going to hug those pipes corners to the side where he's going to be coming up, leaving a lot of space open. And Elias, again, reading off his first shot, seeing he can get that advantage. Took that advantage again and put the shot right on the lower corner. A great effort there by Elias Fairman.
So 8-6 now. Griffins on top. Elias Fairman with 4 goals. So Fairman having an unbelievable individual effort today. Great job there by Kofelt winning faceoff. But a tough pass. Battle round here in the left corner. Ball on the ground again and a penalty being called. This time I think it's going to be on the Griffins. And a big time collision down there in the left corner. And a 30-second pushing penalty called on the Griffins, their first with minutes here in this game. Unfortunately, can't see the number of who was on the ground. There we go. Looks like number 44, Jomerhausen, Jeffrey Jomerhausen. A little shaken up, but he walked off under his own power. Pretty big collision there in the corner. We kind of missed it. We saw him hit the ground.
Yeah, wing got taken out of him. So again, it's going to be man up here for Minnesota Duluth.
So 8-6 advantage for the home team, the Griffins. Minnesota Duluth having answers. Sorry, go ahead. A great save.
Yeah, great save by Eric Gronsat, especially a tough shot to block on that offside hip.
So this game turning into a little bit of a little more sloppy, a little more physicality. I think Minnesota Duluth loves this kind of play. It's kind of their style. And the Griffins now even on the field. And they streak up the field on the left side. Dalton Tour with a shot off the post. And a good job by Clapperich to be able to get that high in the air. Bulldogs on the streaking left side, far side from us.
And a flag thrown here, probably be a slashing call.
Yeah, looks like slashing potentially on Fairman. We'll see what the call is. And a goal scored by number 24, Logan Lindberg, his second of the game and 8th on the season. And 8-7 now. So both teams heating it up on both the defensive and offensive end. Physicality up, scoring up in this quarter. This is getting to be pretty fun here.
Yeah, it's be a tough game. Both teams really need these wins. These are, again, these are playoff implications in the future.
Absolutely.
Every game counts here, and you never know. Both these teams are planned to be playoff bound, so they may be seeing each other again in the near future.
And I could only imagine how physical and emotional that game could be if it continues to play out the way it is here. A lot of lacrosse to be played still. 8-7 advantage for the Griffins. Duluth with 2 goals.
And Westminster will be facing off with a man down. Slashing Paul still goes in, even with the goal.
Great job by Kofelt again, digging that one out of the faceoff.
And you're going to see Westminster here going to just try to bury the ball, give it to the fastest guy, and he's just going to take laps around, making sure that he's going to kill that penalty and any time associated with it.
And the intricacies of time and penalties and all that kind of stuff. Brought to you by Alex Vincent. Thank you for that analysis.
Absolutely.
Holland glad to do it, I'm sure. Just getting a little, getting some laps in right now.
Just taking some air off the ball, and you're going to see Duluth going to try and get a double, going to put him up in a corner. And as we try to say, is the coffin corners, the 4 corners of the box. Try to avoid them.
Ball on the ground. Turnover caused by the Bulldogs. Sargent puts that one on the ground. Griffins were able to kill that penalty time with possession. Bulldogs now have it as they cross the field. Have it here on the top, near side. Seth Noble with it on the right side. Circling back around, centering.
Penalty flags.
And a goal scored right after the penalty flag was thrown high in the air. But Logan Lindbergh takes advantage, goes on the right side, and gets that one to go low and hard. And that is his 3rd goal of the game and 9th on the season. And this thing is all knotted up at 8. So the flag was for interference, but it will be waved off because of the goal. So no penalty time assessed on the Bulldogs. So, Alex, we've seen an increase of physicality, of goals, of energy from both of these sides. What have you seen from both of these teams as we are now knotted up at 8 with 3:09 to play in the 3rd quarter?
Yeah, again, like you said, just a lot of energy coming out, a lot of emotion coming through. It's a very close game, especially later in the game here in the 3rd period. It's going to just come down to the wires. Team's going to just keep fighting it out, fighting for those ground balls, and it's going to come down to who owns the ball most and who can put it in the net, who can finish those shots on their offensive sets. Again, the Duluth goalie has been playing very well this game, having some huge key saves for Duluth here, keeping them right in this game for them.
The senior Jared Clapperich holding down the cage there. Now sitting at 11 saves here in this game. Shot goes long for the Griffins. They maintain possession. Quick restart. And a low shot off the post. We could hear it all the way here, even through our mics, as that one had a chance to go by Troy Vance. Nonetheless, will count, I believe, as another save. Yeah, another save for Clapperich, his 12th of the game. Minnesota Duluth with it, get it all the way down behind right side of the cage. Jacob Hepner with it. He's circling, looking for the offense to set up. Overpass, so a turnover.
Big errant pass, and it's a...
Postler with it on the break.
No numbers there, so he's going to probably take it out and wait for his players to get down the field and catch up.
So the Griffins look to take advantage of a turnover from the Bulldogs. This team, this game, been pretty sloppy for the most parts. If you asked most lacrosse fans, it would be considered a sloppy game, but I think it's been pretty even as far as the physicality and forced turnovers. 15 total by the Griffins, 14 by the Bulldogs. 8 caused by Minnesota Duluth, 5 caused by Westminster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of been drop passes here and there. It's not the prettiest game that coaches would want, especially coming from their players. But, again, these players are putting everything out and being physical and trying to fight their way out of this game.
Looks like I have an illegal screen, illegal pick called on the Griffins as Josh Holland was trying to wrap around and set something up, but legal screen, I believe is what they call it, right?
Again, a moving pick, I believe, is what he was probably called for.
Yep. Under a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. This has been a fun quarter of lacrosse action here at Dumke Field. Lance Barton. And a timeout called on the field by Minnesota Duluth with 49 seconds remaining here in this 3rd quarter. Lance Barton, Alex Vincent on the call for you today. This has been a quarter that has seen 7 goals compared to 9 total in the first half.
Yeah.
The Griffins had a 5-4 advantage going into the start of the second half and found themselves up getting 2 goals and a 3-goal lead. And then, like Duluth did early in the game to begin, they bounced back and were able to capture a little bit of the momentum. Now they find it at 8 apiece. 2 goals in that stretch by Minnesota Duluth's Logan Lindbergh, as well as Garrick Swanson getting one during that stretch here in this quarter. So a couple of great individual efforts, but I think the physicality of this game definitely taking its toll as you see some tired players on both sides.
Yeah, there's not been a whole lot of settled offensive sets that we were seeing in the first half here. There's been it's been back and forth both ways. Both players playing hard between the lines, trying to get those ground balls, and especially on face-offs. Would like to see maybe who's gonna take the wind out of the ball here, kind of settle it down, make sure some people their defenders can get some breathers in. Seems like the defense on both sides has had a lot of running in here, a lot of big plays.
So a snapshot of the statistics here by both teams at the end of the third quarter as we're almost underway. Out of the timeout as we wind down this third quarter here. 44 seconds to be played. We saw a late goal by the Griffins at the end of the second quarter to give them the lead. See if Minnesota has a chance to match that. Over the top, finds himself wide open. Does Zogan Lindberg for his 4th goal of the game and 10th of the year. So a great pass.
Yeah, it's a great job Minnesota do. That's what they want, picture perfect. They're going to draw that guy out, get a one-on-one, make a defender split 2 men. Side has to come from crease. They don't want him walking on the doorstep. The guy has to go, and there was no second slide behind him. So it was a great overall effort by Duluth and a great look. It's an easy goal for Minnesota there.
So Jacob Hepner with the great pass, and that gives the advantage now to the Bulldogs, 9-8. As they have not backed down from any momentum changes, neither team has. As a possession won off the face-off, Carter Farron. 15 seconds left here in this third quarter. Postler with it on the right side. His shot was deflected. 8 seconds. Quick restart here. Final seconds of the third quarter, and a shot just bounced and deflected wide. Postler with it. And that will be the end of the third quarter as Minnesota Duluth rallies from 1 goal down, then 3 goals down, and they take the lead as they score 5 goals in that third quarter. The Griffins scoring 3, and that is where we find ourselves so far. So a barrage of goals, 8 total in that third quarter when we only had 9 in the first 2 quarters, and the physicality was up, emotion was up, and both of these teams do not want to let this one go. Especially the Griffins on their home opener, but Minnesota Duluth playing very well. Had a patch where they were, a little bit more stagnant on defense, a little bit less physical. As soon as they increased their physicality, their entire team kind of bought in, and that's what helped them take the lead.
Yeah, again, I think that kind of threw Westminster off a little bit. Their tempo, their overall game plan seems to be kind of thrown off by Minnesota going out, being very aggressive off ball and on ball, both ways of the field, and it's going to come down to the wire here and see if Duluth can keep that kind of aggressiveness up, or if Westminster can take the tempo back and go on their own game plan and put those goals back piece by piece.
So going into the fourth quarter, Minnesota Duluth, the visitors, find themselves with a 1-goal advantage, 9-8. Minnesota Duluth 4-1, 19th in the country. So a top 20 battle here at Dumke Field. Their only loss this season was to BYU on Saturday in a tough-fought game down there in Provo. And the Griffins sitting at 3-2, 2 tough losses in California last weekend against Cal Poly and Dominican. The Griffins find themselves with a really tough schedule the rest of the year, as does Minnesota Duluth. But Westminster goes from here and goes up the hill to play at Utah. And then they go on the road to Grand Junction to play Colorado State Pueblo. And then 3 home games against the 2 Colorado schools, University of Colorado, Colorado State, and then the big one, the home game on the 18th against Brigham Young, the rival. So a tough stretch of games for Westminster, and they'd really like to have some momentum and an advantage with a win here.
Yeah, again, the aggressiveness here, first play of the draw, it's penalty on Minnesota Duluth, pushing behind with the possession. Again, that's going to be a huge key here. If the aggressiveness here does not get them penalties, but looks like refs here are on top of their game, watching every play, especially a close game like this.
So looking at the points leaders for Minnesota Duluth so far through 3 quarters, as the Griffins will start with possession. And man advantage. 4 points by Lindbergh. Sorry, let me get this. 4 goals by Lindbergh with 4 points. 2 points by Saba with 1 goal and 1 assist. And 2 points by Swanson with 2 goals. 1 goal piece for Noble Harris. And that one finds the back of the net. A great job there by number 33, Thomas Sargent, the freshman. His first goal of the game, 10th of the season. So he finds himself in double digits for the season. And that will knot it up at 9.
Yeah, excellent split. He split the 2-man that he was guarding between, faking the pass, going in, and just getting a nice little dunk on the crease there. Overall, great movement from Westminster, and all tied up here.
So this one is playing out as we had predicted. It's going to be a battle to the end. The scoring is up, and I don't see it really changing. Minnesota Duluth slowed the tempo a little bit in the first half. It worked for a little bit, but they've been able to match the tempo and pace of the Griffins. Crosby got that and streaked down the right side. Griffins with substitutions in. Crosby diagonal, back on top to Crosby. Crosby still with it on the left side, 9-9. 1 minute gone in this fourth quarter. Fairman with it. Throws it up top, ball on the ground. Good job there by Posler, the captain, to be able to run that down before it goes across the midway line.
Again, Minnesota sliding hard, sliding fast.
And that one finds its way in as Fairman takes the big hit but still delivers the goal. There's a great individual effort there by Crosby to get Fairman the shot. He took a hard check, rolled him backwards, but still that went through. So credit Crosby. And excuse me, that one was Sargent that put that one through. I kept saying Posler, but Sargent and Fairman. But it's Thomas Sargent taking the big hit and getting his second goal in a row.
Yeah, again, it's great. Westminster's here is recognizing that their Minnesota Duluth defense is sliding fast, and that's going to leave a man open very quickly unless they had a 2-slide on him. So as Crosby was waiting, he was waiting to see that second guy come up, and he knew there was a guy going to be open. Found the man and got him on crease, and there's a goal.
So the Griffins bounce back from a 1-goal deficit at the beginning of the third quarter. And now they take the lead, 10-9.
Again, Minnesota Duluth coming out, flying. They're really being aggressive on ball. Laying out hits.
Ball on the floor. Good job by Minnesota Duluth to really get out on this transition. Good defense there by the Griffins.
Great kickball there by Trent Ebert.
That ball hits the ground, picked up by number 15, Franklin Nesser, the Bulldogs. Pretty good crowd here on hand. And a turnover, unforced turnover by the Bulldogs. A good job by Posler being able to get that in quick. Not necessarily a shot. It might count as a shot on goal, but just sending it back, giving the Griffins possession behind the cage.
Yeah, he was trying to get that goalie back running. He wasn't there at the cage at the right time, so he's going to take a wild shot and seeing if he could get it in there.
Elias Fairman with it. Setting it up. Fairman with 4 goals in the game today, 12 on the season. Back across to Fairman, rips it by, goes over the head of Clapperich. Clapperich having a pretty good game today as he sits now at 11 saves, 2 for Gronseth, who hasn't needed to be as save happy, just solid play, but Clapperich playing a great game with 11 saves now in the match. Vance with it. Finds Dylan Check, who rips it, and it's a save by Clapperich.
Great look there. Just fortunate, just right into the goalie stick.
Minnesota Duluth gets across the midway line. Kevin Bowditch over to Saba. Some physical play by Saba and the big defender, Spencer Huso, the Griffins. Possession gained by the Bulldogs down the right side. Andrew Greenlee in the back corner. And a turnover by the Bulldogs gives the possession to the Griffins. Josh with it. Josh Holland, number 5. Finds Dalton Tour. Over to the right side to Postler. Postler slows the tempo, lets the offense set up. We're at Dumke Field here. Westminster with their first home game of the season. Top 20 MCLA battle here in Division I. And a push on the Griffins. Gives the ball back to Minnesota. Bulldogs look to set up their offense. Griffins pressuring out high. Saba with it on the far side, looking for some help. Hepner now with it on the right side. Hepner finds himself behind, trying to find an inside position. Doria with great job by Tanner getting that turnover. And then throws a bad pass over.
I think he was expecting one of his defenders to be back there to get that rebound.
Saba with it at the top. Bulldogs slowing down here in this possession. They were matching the tempo of the Griffins offensively. This possession looks a little bit more like they had in the first half, a little more slow and methodical. Shot across the face. Gronseth out of bounds, maintain possession for the Bulldogs. So on the left side is Lindbergh. 8 minutes, 30 seconds to be played here in this fourth quarter of this top 20 battle. A nice deflection there by Gronseth. So 2 shots on goal here during this possession for Minnesota, but that time a turnover forced. And Zach Stout streaking down the left side, showing the speed. Nice attempt there. Good job by Stout, really putting the pressure. Streaking out on the left-hand side. Substitutions in for both squads. Crosby with it. Behind the cage. Back to Crosby. So, Alex, if you're on this coaching staff or either one of these teams, what are you telling your players, or shouting, I should say, to your players as this game has just got crazy tempo, not a lot of time to talk and coach as a shot is ripped and goes high by Fairman. What are you telling these teams finishing out? 10-9 advantage, 7 minutes to go.
I think if I was here for Westminster, I think definitely tempo is the name of the game here. They have the goal advantage, but they want to keep the ball on their side of the field. If I was a coach, I would be wanting to, exploit those fast slides. And again, right there, the fast slide coming from Minnesota Duluth, and an easy goal for Josh Holland, scoring right there. And again, that's what I believe is what Coach Brad LeBoy and Mason Goodhand here want to do, is make that defense on Duluth work. if I was on here for Duluth here, I'd be definitely wanting to be aggressive in between the lines. I know they have very aggressive players. They're strong. They're built. And they know they can push kids around. And I think on those ground balls, especially between the lines here, on unsettled situations, I would be pounding the kids to just take advantage of. Use your size and get those balls and take the tempo out of Westminster.
So a timeout called on the field by Minnesota Duluth. The Griffins get a goal there by Josh Holland, his 13th of the year. First of the game, they take a 2-goal advantage, 11-9. Don't go anywhere. We'll try and catch our breath during this brief timeout. We'll be right back on Griffins TV.
Tonight's game is brought to you by SportsMed Utah, the official sports medicine provider of Westminster College. No matter your injury or individual needs, their expert team is here for you. SportsMed Utah, proud supporters of Westminster Athletics.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To avoid common overuse injuries like tendonitis, incorporate a strength and conditioning program into your routine. Also, mix up your training with more than one sport. Athletes who participate in only a single sport have been found to have a higher injury rate than those athletes who cross-train. Planning a recovery week during times of heavy training can also help keep you in the game.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com.
Well, we caught our break during a brief timeout here at Dumke Field as the visitors, Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, find themselves down 2 goals to the host Westminster Griffins. 11-9 Griffin advantage. 7:23 remaining in this fourth quarter, halfway through the fourth quarter. Josh Holland got on the board, his 13th goal of the year, tying Kyle Posler for question about the scoring or the time. That's been resolved. SID Josh Fisher running the show. Appreciate everyone being here. Tom, our producer, showing up after class. Appreciate Tom and the staff being here today on this beautiful day here in Salt Lake City. Great time for the home opener for the Westminster Griffins. It's a top 20 battle. That face-off won by the Bulldogs. The Duluth staff really wanting a penalty there. I think he's asking for a cross-check, at the ref, but nonetheless, Bulldogs still maintain possession. Saba with it on the corner. Ball to top right. Lindbergh. And that one finds its way in. A great individual effort by Logan Lindbergh. His 5th goal of the season, or excuse me, 5th of the game, 11th of the season, as he went down the right side and found the back of the net, ripping that by. The penalty flag will be waved off because of the goal. It would have been on the Griffins, but 11-10 is the lead. 1 goal lead for the Griffins.
Yeah, again, great recognition. No one was in there for the slide, and they took advantage of that. They went one-on-one. That's what every offensive player's dream is, going one-on-one with any of their defenders, straight to the goal.
Good battle right here in the face-off. Picked up by Kofelt. Kofelt having a nice game at center on the starts.
Yeah, both Jake Berard and Ryan Koufax having a very good day at the center right here on their face-offs.
Griffins with possession on the left side. Posler with it all the way down behind the cage. Posler with it, tried to go individual, dives. It looked like that one maybe got off of the post of the cage. Collision with the goalie. Possession stays with the Griffins. Josh Holland with it. Loses control, was able to pick it back up. Griffins almost with another turnover. Griffins with doubled up on shots on goal. 48 shots to 24 for the Bulldogs. 19 total turnovers for the Griffins, 18 for Minnesota Duluth. So the physicality definitely playing a part to turnovers, as well as some sloppy play.
Yeah, a little behind the back shot there by Elias Fairman, trying to get anything in, get close to that goal.
Fairman having a solid game himself, as he finds himself with 4 goals in this game so far. So when you've got pretty much everything to go in, you might as well just throw it up there.
May as well, you know, go for the highlight reels.
Josh Holland with the top, trying to find something in the crease. Pass across. Good shot and a good, even better save by Klaparich. Klaparich having just an unbelievable game as he finds himself now with 13 saves on the game so far. Make that 14th. That's his 14th save of the game.
That's a good day for any goalie.
Yeah,
they're doing okay at that point.
Yep, absolutely. Postler finds his way, tries to bounce it in, but a little too aggressive as that bounces over the top of goal. Griffins there first out of bounds, still maintain possession. That shot
again
deflected with Crosby.
Griffins are going all for all those shots. They're really trying to make the senior goalie work for his money here.
Another shot by Holland, this time trying to go off the quick restart, go from behind the cage. The Griffins doing a great job of getting the rebounds though. Right corner, start. Sargent, the freshman, with it. Sargent coming into this game was the points leader for the Griffin as a freshman, being called on to be an offensive force for Westminster. Griffins setting up a play. Postler bobbles it. Griffins move it around. Another hard shot by Crosby. Finds the back corner. Holland with the quick start. Dives.
And they're calling it off a dive in the crease.
So that will not count, as the possession will go to the Bulldogs. A dive in the crease called. A nice effort by Holland. Maybe thought he had dove a little bit early, but did still find himself landing in the crease.
Yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, overall great effort by Josh Holland, looking at that quick restart and trying to get that goal in.
That's that part of that rule change that Alex talked about earlier with the quick restarts. Teams adjusting to that and trying to take advantage. 11-10. The Griffins with a narrow 1-goal lead. We've seen leads as big as 3 be erased in a matter of moments by both of these teams. There's a good defensive stand by 13, Chris Fuoco. Fuoco causing the turnover, giving the ball back over to the Griffins. 2:45 remaining here in this game. It's been a fun one. Hasn't been the prettiest lacrosse in the world, but it has been really fun and physical with a lot of shots from the Griffins and a lot of physicality by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you're going to see here, kind of like in basketball, Duluth's going to go for that full court press. They're really going to press out and going to try and see right there what they wanted was there's a time limit for where you can get the ball into the box. So they're going to really just keep the defense on their heels, keep them throwing back there, and just kill that time limit.
So time violation called on the Griffins. Possession will switch back over. I believe that counts as a turnover, correct?
Yes,
so
that is a turnover.
That will be turnover number 21 on the Griffins.
And an offsides call going on to Duluth, so it'll be back to Westminster's ball.
Crosby with it, pressing the issue. Sargent, back to Fairman. So the attackmen and middies back in for the Griffins, trying to extend their lead. They have 11-10. And a good save by Klaparich. That one off the body. Fairman putting the pressure on. Didn't have a lot on that one, but Klaparich just a great job. Turns it over, however. Good job by Tanner Durea. Ball hits the floor. Picked up by Hepner. 1 minute, 15 seconds left here to go in this fourth quarter. Duluth going to put the pressure on, have to get some shots at goal as they find themselves down 1, 10-11. Spin move shot off the post. 1 minute to go. A nice move there by Lindbergh. Looking for his 6th goal of the game. Didn't go. And we have a whistle. Possession will go to the Bulldogs. I think we got a pushing foul in that far right corner. 45 seconds to go. Minnesota Duluth with it at the top. Seth Noble with it. Over to Simpson. Simpson attacking on the right side. Back behind to Hepner. Griffins doing all they can to keep it out. Noble with it. Rips a shot and it goes high. 17 seconds to go. Rebound and possession to the Bulldogs. Hepner with it. Swanson with it. Nice deflection there by Gronseth. 9 seconds to go. Hepner with it. Going around into the crease and throws it through and scores with 2 seconds to go. Ties this thing up at 11. And a great effort by Jacob Hepner. His first goal of the game. He also has an assist, so an unbelievable effort to come from the rebound. Loop around, and he went low for that one. Took a big hit, but nonetheless tied it with 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, again, just a great overall effort. Those guys didn't give up. They were waiting for that right moment and the right shot, and he had it right there, right above the crease, and just threw it under. Goalie, it's hard to see with all the traffic right in front of him. It's hard to, as a goalie, to kind of get a good idea of where that shot was. And again, and now we're going into overtime here.
So a hard-fought battle being waged here at Dumke Field, and both of these teams doing everything they possibly can to get this victory, but it will need to be sided with some extra lacrosse time. And the way this game is being played, you or I are not too disappointed, as this has been exciting lacrosse throughout.
Yeah, very exciting game, especially for the home opener. Both teams, it's a strong physical game with a lot of great plays on both sides of the field, and both teams coming out strong. Again, I'm sure the fans over there are happy to see a very fun-filled game on a nice warm day out here in Salt Lake City.
So we are going to go to overtime. We'll take a quick break. We'll give you some stats and analysis. It's a 4-minute overtime as we have a tied game, 11-11, as Minnesota Duluth and Jacob Hepner score with 2 seconds to go in the game to tie it up. Don't go anywhere. More exciting men's lacrosse action coming back on Griffins TV.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
A concussion occurs when any kind of force causes the brain to move back and forth. You don't need to lose consciousness to have had a concussion. Symptoms include headache, dizziness, difficulty concentrating, balance problems, and nausea. If these symptoms occur, stop activity until cleared by a healthcare professional. The smart plan for concussions is, when in doubt, hold them out.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Pepsi, the official beverage provider of Griffin Athletics.
And we are back here at Westminster College on a beautiful early spring afternoon, Monday. The Westminster Griffins playing host to their first home opponent in Minnesota Duluth, the 19th ranked team here in the MCLA. Westminster Griffins ranked at 17, so a top 20 battle. And we have seen some great lacrosse, some good lacrosse, some ugly lacrosse, but overall just most of it you could code as exciting.
Yeah, very true. Again, like we said before, it's just been a great day on both sides of the team. It's a lot of physical play. It's good. It's what you want to see on two top-level teams like this. Again, it's going to be an exciting overtime. It's going to be interesting to see who comes up on top.
So the captains meet with the officials at center, deciding which side. So the Griffins will go on your camera left to right. Minnesota going right to left. The Griffins trying to win their second game in a row. The Bulldogs trying to bounce back from a tough loss down in Provo on Saturday against BYU, their first loss of the season. Both of these teams could really use the momentum as they are about to head into a really deep and long stretch, a difficult one, moving on into the season. Ball on the ground off a face-off. Ball still bouncing around. No one really gained possession yet. This is the way it's been throughout the entirety of most of the second, third, and fourth quarters. The first a little bit more tempo-based. This has been all physical since about halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, again, scrappy ground ball wars, but again, it seems like Duluth is coming out on top and battling hard for those ground balls.
So timeout on the field called by Minnesota Duluth. They have possession and 3:28 to go here in overtime. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Griffins TV.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
Risk of shoulder injury can be reduced by strengthening the small muscles that stabilize the joint. To prevent shoulder injuries, the muscles of the rotator cuff need to be strengthened as they keep the ball and socket stable through an athletic activity like throwing a ball or reaching to catch a pass. Strengthening these foundation muscles is a good way to keep your shoulders healthy and keep you on the field. If you want more injury prevention techniques, then please contact us.
Coming out of the timeout, we find ourselves at an 11-11 draw in overtime here at Westminster College. Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs will have possession as they call timeout, drawing up their offensive sets. It's been a great battle, as mentioned before. Lance Barton, Alex Vincent, Griffin alumni here with the call. We've been fortunate to have some great weather today. The clouds came out most of the game, keeping it not too hot. Great environment and a great spot for lacrosse here in the Division I battle between two top 20 teams. Ball back in play. Logan Lindberg, the offensive juggernaut for the Bulldogs, with it at the top, has 5 goals in the game today, including 3 in the third quarter. And now they find themselves with a game winner. Minnesota Duluth puts it away, and they steal this one in overtime, 12-11. As that one is unseen, was not predicted. And the Griffins drop a tough one here at their home opener in Dumke Field. 12-11 in overtime, and a great job by Lindberg, who gets his 6th goal of the match, of the game. And the visitors come in to Salt Lake City, and they take the home opener away as they had to score a goal, 2 goals in the final minute and a half to get themselves back into the game. In the fourth quarter, they did that. Jacob Hepner with a goal with 2 seconds to go in the in the fourth quarter, send to overtime, and then it's finished off by Logan Lindberg as he gets his 6th goal of the game and puts that one away, and that will do it here for the Griffins versus the Bulldogs. Alex, what a game, what a way to finish as Minnesota Duluth sneaks one away from the Griffins on their home field.
Yeah, no kidding. It was a great last-minute draw play and an incredible way to finish out the game, especially in overtime. But Minnesota feels real good, especially after a tough loss against BYU, to come out and win the home opener. Again, it's a very hard-fought battle between both teams, 2 top 20 teams. You can see these guys making some way into the Nationals, I would believe, and making some leeway. Again, great overall game. physical, exciting to watch, and hope to see more of these in the near future.
Well, it's a tough way to lose, and I have to make a correction. Yeah. It was Lindbergh with the assist, and Joey Saba, the smallest attackman for the Bulldogs, snuck his way through and got that one to go low side for the game winner. Saba with his second goal, had one early in the first quarter. Didn't see a lot of him the rest of the game, and then he gets the game winner to go in overtime for the visitors, Minnesota Duluth. An exciting physical game, a little sloppy at times as we ended up with both of these teams turning the ball over 20 times, 23 from Westminster, 21 for the Bulldogs, 12 caused turnovers for Minnesota Duluth and 8 caused turnovers for Westminster. And just an unbelievable way to finish. It's unfortunate, but it was a battle. It was physical. And the Griffins, not necessarily known for the physicality, were able to match that physicality for a long time. And unfortunately just let that late goal go in the fourth quarter. And then Saba sneaks one in right at the end of, at the beginning of overtime to get the game winner. So we will take a break. We will talk with Coach Goodhand on a tough loss here as Minnesota Duluth comes into Westminster on the home opener and takes it in overtime, 12-11. We'll have our post-game wrap-up here shortly, right after this break on Griffins TV.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the Courtyard by Marriott, an official lodging partner of Westminster Athletics. Courtyard by Marriott, ideal for travelers.
Salt Lake Regional Physical Therapy. We treat the team and all the fans. Here's a tip on how to get back to play.
To reduce your risk of dehydration, drink plenty of fluids. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Drink water and sports beverages before, during, and after exercising or playing. And avoid caffeine, sugary drinks, and carbonated beverages. If you're staying hydrated but still experience fatigue or dizziness, see your doctor or contact us.
So get back to play and go to saltlakeregional.com.
And we are back on the Griffin post-game coverage here. Lance Barton, Alex Vincent, and what was potentially a nice win for the Griffins suddenly turned into a sneak-away win for the visitors from Minnesota Duluth, the Bulldogs, as they score a late goal in the fourth quarter with 2 seconds left. And then Joey Saba scores the game winner in overtime, his second, first from early on in the first quarter, as he puts that one away low and past Gronseth for the victory. And Minnesota Duluth will get a split on their road trip as they lost to BYU on Saturday and get a much needed and a big time win for them as they will head back to Duluth with some momentum moving further into their conference. So briefly, as we go through some stats and we'll get some final analysis, looking at the leaders for both of these teams, 4 goals for Elias Fairman, Kyle Posser with 2, Thomas Sargent with 2, and Josh Holland with 1. For the Griffins, for the Bulldogs, Logan Lindbergh really just put it on a show in the third quarter with 3 goals, leading to 5 total. Joey Saba, as mentioned, with the game winner and 1 early, so 2 total. Garrick Swanson with 2, and Seth Noble with 1, as well as Samuel Harris and Jacob Hepner getting 1 for Minnesota. Bridger Fisher getting his first of the year for the Griffins, and Troy Vance getting his third with 1 in the game. Assists, Eric Crosby with 2, Bridger Fisher with 1, Posser with 1, and Sargent with 1. Those are your leaders. And Saba, Lindbergh, and Hepner with 1 apiece. Really a big difference in this match is saves, with Jared Klaparich getting 16 saves and Eric Gronseth credited for 2. Gronseth did play a pretty solid game. His defense played very well and made shots on goal tough. But Jared Klaparich, the senior goaltender, 16 saves for the Bulldogs. So overall, not the cleanest lacrosse played in the world, but enough done by Minnesota Duluth to put this one away in overtime. Alex, your final thoughts as we close this home opener out for the Griffins and for them moving forward.
Yeah, outstanding job by Minnesota Duluth's goalie, making huge critical saves when the team needed it. Both sides, both teams played really well. They're between the lines, gained some ground balls. Again, momentum was key in both games. I think both teams had their ways, big waves and goals. And again, just an overall very exciting game to watch, very exciting game to be a part of. And I look forward to seeing both these teams in the near future and their future games.
Well, we will take a brief break. We'll have Coach Goodhand here for our post-game coverage. We'll wrap up with him. Alex, we appreciate you jumping on, and look forward to doing this with you more in the future. And we'll take a quick break and be back to wrap up our post-game coverage with Coach Goodhand right here on Griffins TV. Welcome back to our post-game coverage here at Dumke Field and on Griffins TV as the Griffins drop a tough one in their home opener to Minnesota Duluth, 12-11 in overtime. I'm joined by head coach Mason Goodhand. Coach, not the way you wanted to open play at Dumke Field, a physical battle, a little bit sloppy at times, some beautiful things at times. Your thoughts on a tough loss here at home today?
Oh, you're a glass half full kind of a guy. I'm a glass half. Or you're a glass half empty. I'm a glass half full. There was a lot of good takeaways from today. Looking at the stats, we had 23 turnovers. If you look at the ground balls, we outground balled them almost by 2-1 margin and outshot them 55-29. So the effort was there. What that shows is that you make some lacrosse. You make some mistakes that are lacrosse IQ. We made some of those because we were playing aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have that problem of our guys playing too aggressively and teaching them to think while they're playing than to have to worry about them not being aggressive. So we can fix this. Minnesota Duluth is a tough team. They tend to have a bunch of kids with hockey experience who think under pressure and do well. And though they were a little tired, I think they hung around and did their business. And if we don't learn something from this one, then it was a waste. But I'd much rather play this game than one we win by 10 goals and everybody's patting themselves on the back.
Well, and you do have a lot of conference play to be had, as you have Utah coming up on the 1st, and then then on the road to CSU Pueblo, and then 4 consecutive conference games with 3 big ones here at home. So a lot of lacrosse still to be played, Coach,
yeah.
as you mentioned, and hopefully it can be taken as a learning experience for your fellas. Talk about the physicality of this game. You and I talked about that pregame a little bit about Minnesota Duluth going to have some physicality. I thought your players and the Griffins were able to match that at times, and they didn't. That didn't necessarily overall affect the way they played. They adjusted pretty well.
You're physical when you have the legs. I think their legs ran out 2 games in 3 days with 2 teams that are very tough.
Yeah,
wears you out. They knew it. I didn't call any timeouts in the second half because I didn't want to give them any extra rest, and they managed to squeak in that last goal. Truth be told, we had the ball in our half of the field, and we tried to press it upfield on a clear when we could have just turned it around and thrown it to our goalie and taken our time. And that's the lacrosse IQ piece that we've got to work on. Physically, the NCAA brand of lacrosse that we hope to play in the future is a much more athletic, physical game.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to play that game, and I think it's more exciting for the fans.
Yeah, well, it was exciting for us. Not the result we wanted, but credit Minnesota Duluth for coming up big at the end and putting a goal in right at the last second and then getting one through in overtime. Appreciate you stopping by, Coach. Head Coach Mason Goodhand joining us here in the post-game coverage. Just a reminder, the Griffins will be up the street at the University of Utah on the 1st of April and then on the road to CSU Pueblo and Grand Junction on the 4th. And then they return back home here at Dumke Field on the 9th of April against Colorado and the 12th of April against Colorado State and the 18th against Brigham Young University here at home. And those will be 5 tough games that you'll have to go through. Anything that you look forward to improve upon moving forward?
Well, truthfully, we have the toughest conference in the nation. And absolutely we know that we're not going to get into the tournament because of our non-conference schedule. We're going to have to beat some people in conference to prove our worth, and this game will get us ready for those opportunities. CU, number 1 in the country right now. CSU was ranked 3rd or 4th last week, and BYU was right there at 4th or 5th. So, you know, we have our work cut out for us in our neighborhood, and depending on how our guys handle this setback, I think it does nothing but help prepare us for the road ahead. So, you know, we'll worry about it when it's the last game of the season and we're disappointed with the way it went. In the meantime, it's a work in progress, and we still have a lot of work to do.
Well, and you have a couple of days here in between games as you play, like we said, on the first up at the University of Utah. That was Coach Mason Goodhand. Coach, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. Good luck to you moving forward.
All right, thanks for the support. We'll see everybody on April 9th.
Okay, we'll see you. That was Coach Mason Goodhand, and we'll wrap up the home opener for the men's lacrosse team here at Dumke Field as Minnesota Duluth comes into town and sneaks ones away in overtime from the Griffins, 12-11. We appreciate our staff, Josh and Tom, and everyone bringing you the broadcast here on Griffins TV. Tune in for more scores and highlights on westminstergriffins.com for the next 2 games. And we will be back on the 9th against number 1 Colorado. That's at 4 p.m. on the 9th right here at Dumke Field. For Lance Barton, Alex Vincent, this has been your men's lacrosse action here, and it's been brought to you by Griffins TV. Have a good day, and we'll see you April 9th right here on Griffins TV.